All right, now to our morning business report. Netflix may announce a price hike when it reports earnings today.
And SpaceX blames political bias for its recent rejection for a California contract. Channel 3's Jane King is live at the NASDAQ with those stories and more. Good morning, Jane.
Hi, Caitlin and Tracy. Good morning. Well, Elon Musk SpaceX has accused a California regulator of political discrimination after it voted to block the rocket company from conducting more launches on the state's central coast. Now, SpaceX claimed in a lawsuit that members of the California Coastal Commission violated Musk's right to free speech and overstepped the agency's authority after members cited the billionaire's comments on X in denying the bid. Now, the commission oversees development and environmental protection of the state's coastline. Gen Z's latest, hottest smartphone is a refurbished one. The global market for refurbished smartphones grew by 5% year over year from 2021 to 2022. That's according to Counterpoint Research. Apple made up half the resold phone marketplace that year and accounted for about a quarter of new smartphones shipped late last year, according to the International Data Corporation. Well, analysts have been trying to read the tea leaves ahead of Netflix's earnings today. Some are speculating the streaming giant will raise prices again and lean harder into ads as subscriber numbers stall. Also, Netflix has been building out a video game library over the past couple of years, but has shared little data about its progress. And the Dow and S&P 500 edged higher yesterday. In fact, the Dow hit another all-time high. We're looking positive this morning as well, especially the NASDAQ. Live from the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Back to you.